Hey guys, welcome back to J&M Sports Talk, Week 7 recap. I'm going to start us off this week.
All right.
So, who impressed me are Big Three, the Michigan Wolverines, winning at home against Wisconsin. I was really impressed with them. Over 300 yards rushing against a decent Wisconsin defense. So, Jonathan, who impressed you?
You know what? I'm going to stick with another top matchup. LSU thumping Georgia. We talk about how good LSU's been this year, especially that O-line playing really well. But still, I just not see that one coming. Them just completely destroying Georgia. They won both lines of scrimmage. That was a huge part of them winning that game. So
yeah, I was equally impressed with LSU. They had forced 4 turnovers against that Georgia offense, and they had nearly 500 yards of offense against a Kirby Smart defense in Georgia. So really impressed with LSU.
Yeah. Then moving on the opposite side of that, moving on to our disappointments, it's got to be ranked teams, upsets, and close calls for me. You know what? We had 8 teams lose this weekend that were ranked, and we had 5 others that only won by a score. So even they were cutting it close this week. So ranked teams really struggled this weekend, and it was clear in that big shakeup this weekend.
Yeah, one of those teams that was shaken this week was Penn State. They really disappointed me. Back-to-back losses. They lost to Ohio State. Pretty good loss there last week. But then they come back home and they lose against Michigan State. Rather, I think that game was at Michigan State. But still, their offense really struggled. Michigan State's offense outgained them, which Penn State, that's just unacceptable. Michigan State's offenses struggle all year long, so they really disappointed me.
Yep. So moving on to they were who we thought they were.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Oregon Ducks. Last few weeks ago they had that tough loss to Stanford at home, win to overtime and loss. This week they get Washington, forced overtime again, but they pull out the victory this week. And made me right. So they were who I thought they were this week.
For this week. Yeah, for me, I'm going to say the Pac-12. The USC Trojans. Really impressed with them. Going into the season, we kind of struggled to pick a winner in the Pac-12 South. We figured that, maybe Arizona, maybe the winner of the USC-UCLA game. Well,
so much for that one.
Yeah, that was a rough pick there. But throw out UCLA. I really like what USC has done. They've reeled off 3 straight conference victories after the loss to Stanford and the loss to Texas, which isn't looking that bad right now.
Nope.
So USC, they don't wow you on offense. They haven't quite figured out that side of the ball, but their defense does just enough to get victories, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I agree. If there's one thing, though, they can take is they're getting better, and JT Daniels is getting better. As they move forward, that freshman quarterback, he's going to continue to improve. I'm sure there's going to be moments where he's still going to struggle this year, but at least you can live with a freshman quarterback playing at his level now, and he's still getting better after this pain. So definitely a good one with USC there. So now that we've talked about our big 3, let's recap some games, Mark. Where are we going to start?
Let's start with that LSU Georgia game. That was a really good game if you're an LSU Tiger fan.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, the thing that surprised me, impressed me, the 4 turnovers forced by LSU's defense. Jake Fromm looked very human in that one. They couldn't get the deep ball going. Jake Fromm, that's been one of his big MOs over the last couple of years, is that he throws that deep ball, gets some good connections, the defense loosens up, and then they're able to run the football.
Yeah.
Well, that just never happened. He threw 2 interceptions, less than 50% completion percentage. That was definitely his worst game as a Georgia Bulldog, wouldn't you say?
It definitely was. And, talk about reverse, talk about quarterback to the other side. This might have been Burrow's best game as an LSU Tiger.
Yep.
He was doing the ball, running the ball well. What I say, the big thing was the lines. The offensive, defensive lines for LSU were just controlling that line. This reminded me a lot of last year when Georgia faced a different set of Tigers, and they just got manned up. And they struggled, and they couldn't control the line on either side of the ball either. I'm curious to see what Georgia team we get moving forward. Either the Georgia of the past, where Mark Richt, where they pick up a few more losses, struggle, or are we going to see the Georgia from last year, where they're going to lick their wounds and hit somebody's head off the next few weeks and get like they did against Auburn the second time around in the SEC championship game. That's what I'm curious to see is which Georgia team do we see moving forward here after this tough loss for them? Because everything's still in front of them.
Yeah,
Still, so
that's true. Is it okay if I make a prediction?
go for it.
All right, I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. You heard it here
You heard it here first, guys. Yep, I'm gonna write it down right now.
All right, so the LSU Tigers will beat the Alabama Crimson Tide
Whoa!
in a few weeks here.
In a few weeks, okay. The
All right.
game's in Death Valley, so I'm sure it'll be a night game this time. Top
Should
5
be.
teams, top 10 at least.
Yeah, top 5 matchup. Night game. LSU Tiger Stadium. Watch out.
All right, you heard it here first, guys.
All right.
So be on the lookout. I'm sure you're gonna hear a lot of comments on that one, Mark. But
let's talk about the Wisconsin and Michigan game.
Okay.
That was the college game day of the week. So, what were your takeaways from that one?
My biggest one was just Michigan finally figuring their identity on offense since week 1. That tough loss against Notre Dame. They finally look like they know what they're doing on offense. That was a big struggle. Shea Patterson, what is he going to do? There was a lot of high expectations there.
Right.
Even I was drinking some of that Kool-Aid, and it just didn't quite work out early on. But he's finally figured out his role, and that was a big part of them winning this game.
Yeah, that power run game has really made a huge difference. It's amazing what having an identity on offense does for confidence.
Oh yeah,
team.
for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to see a scenario where Michigan won't go into that Ohio State game, with tons of confidence and really feeling like they can win that game and win the Big Ten.
Right. You're saying that's good for college football, especially in the Big Ten as well. Having a good Michigan team to face that Ohio State team. So.
Yeah, and for Wisconsin on the other side, in that one, they just aren't the same team that they've been the last few years.
Not.
Even with Jonathan Taylor, even with a returning quarterback in Horner Brook, the defense just wasn't able to stop the running game. There's a missing level of physicality, I would say.
Yeah, and that just may be they're young in some areas that hopefully they'll grow up a little. This season will be good for them to grow up a little. But yeah, I just say luckily they'll have Jonathan Taylor after this year more than likely, but it might be after Horner Brook they'll be moving on from him. But things are definitely so bright for Wisconsin. They still have a lot to play for as well this year. Of course, they're a Big Ten team, have a lot of pride there. Go to a good bowl game, a few more weeks of practice is always good for any team that goes to a bowl game. That's the biggest thing is those young guys getting practice, which I hate people thinking teams shouldn't go to bowl games and there's no point of bowl games. It's more for the coaches and the players getting that more time to practice. That's a whole another month the guys get to be hands-on. So anytime you get that opportunity, you need to take it.
Yeah, let's recap that Pac-12 matchup. That really good game, Oregon and Washington. What did you see in that one?
My biggest takeaway from it was C.J. Verdell, the freshman running back. He was the big reason Oregon won. Not besides the fact he ran in the winning touchdown, but he's as a freshman he had 111 yards rushing, and he had another touchdown during the game. Just him being able to make plays and run the ball when they needed him to was a huge point of them able to stay with Washington and then get the win at the end overtime.
Yeah, and that was a close game. After each quarter, it was tied.
Yeah,
I mean that is to a T a very close game, and really just for our viewers that didn't get to see the game, Washington had a chance to win the game in regulation and ended up going to overtime, but their kicker made a field goal, but Oregon had called timeout, so it was the kicker's death wish, He comes back out there after the timeout and misses the field goal, and they end up going to overtime, and they kick another field goal, and Oregon runs it in for a touchdown, like you said. So overall, really good game. This really hurts the Pac-12. Washington was kind of holding their hats on getting to the playoff, and this one, Colorado losing, the only other undefeated team in the Pac-12 to USC.
The only undefeated team. So yeah, they have no one undefeated. USC moving forward could help some, but I just don't see they're going to be able to make up ground.
A 2-loss Pac-12. I can't see any way of that happening. So rest in peace, Pac-12. Better luck next year.
Unless we have fewer weekends like this, and who knows? That's the good thing about college football, though. One weekend completely changed the landscape of everything. So, So we appreciate you guys watching. I'm sure you got plenty of comments, especially one big announcement a few weeks early on Mark's part. So we look
You
forward.
heard it here first.
Yep, heard it here first, guys. All right, thanks y'all for watching.